Hi everyone. So today, today we are going to look at the poverty, how to eradicate the poverty. In yesterday's lesson, we have looked at what are the causes of poverty, and like we have looked at Tendulkar Committee report and the Rangarajan Committee, and based on Tendulkar poverty line, the 21% of country's population was poor, and as per Rangarajan Committee poverty line, 30% of country's population was poor. So we have seen that how to estimate poverty and where poverty is there, what is poverty, and then we have seen about multidimensional poverty index. Okay, so today in this lesson we are going to look at how to eradicate poverty. यानी poverty को कैसे खत्म करना और how to remove the poverty from our country. So when we talk about eradication of poverty, we can take number of measures. The first such measure is spreading education and healthcare services. Now, we know that illiteracy is the chief component which keeps the person engaged or which keeps the person trapped in the poverty trap. So person is not able to uplift, he is not able to escape out of the poverty trap because of illiteracy. Why? Because if illiteracy is there, he will not be able to get the benefit of the opportunities available. Illiteracy leads to lesser skills and individual is not able to take benefit of available opportunities. So, when education services will be increased, when people will be educated, they will get jobs, they will be competent enough to get jobs, their skills will be high. So when they will have high skill, they will be educated, they will get job, and when they will get job, they will escape out of the poverty trap, they won't be poor. So, the education becomes an important tool, so educating the country, educating the individual. So education increases skills, okay, and it improves quality of human capital. Similarly, with respect to healthcare services, when you expand healthcare services, people are healthy, they can work more, they can work in an efficient manner. And also, if people are healthy, they won't be spending more on their healthcare related cost, and thus that portion of income is saved and they can come out of poverty trap because they will have sufficient saving to access those minimum requirement of the life. Second is increasing employment opportunities. Now, we know that unemployment and poverty are interrelated with each other. If unemployment will be there, poverty will be there. Okay, because if a person is unemployment means a person is not employed, a person is not getting a job. In that case, person will fall in the poverty trap. So when you create employment opportunities, when you create jobs, people will get jobs, they will get wages, they will get salaries, and they will be employed and they will come out of the poverty trap. They will escape out of the poverty trap. Now here, two things can be done. One is self-employment, skill training and providing jobs. So individuals who have good skills in self-employment can be encouraged to go for self-employment. They can be given, government can give credit. Credit means loans. You start your business, you employ people, employment opportunities will be created. Second is skill training. When you provide skill to the individual, they have skills, so the quality of the human capital improves and they get jobs. Third is controlling social levels. Now in India, lot of social levels are prevalent, like heavy expenditure on marriages, etc. So if you control such expenditure, because such expenditure are unproductive expenditure. So if you control heavy expenditure on death, heavy expenditure on marriages or other customs, what will happen? The person will have higher income. Person will have more income because he will have savings. That income will be saved. If that income will be saved, in case if he needs money urgently and if he is having that saving, he won't fall in the poverty trap. Now, because of the prevalent of social evils like incurring heavy expenditure on wedding, the poor people have to spend more on wedding because of the customs, social customs and the prevalent conditions, and thus he borrow more, he remain in the debt trap. So controlling social evil, which is reducing or controlling heavy expenditure on marriages and deaths. Now we will look at other more ways to eradicate poverty. The next will be controlling population. So, when you control population, because we know that population, if it increases at a rapid pace, the labor force will also increase, and if jobs are not increased at the same rate, unemployment will be there. So, controlling population, because high population affects jobs. Because if population will be high, less jobs will be available, and there are high chances that people will fall into the poverty trap. So control the population. The fifth will be, then the other reason will be, other way to tackle is boosting the growth boosting growth in the sectors like agriculture sector and primary agriculture sector, or the primary sector and the secondary sector, or the manufacturing sector. So when you boost the growth in primary and secondary sector, more jobs will be there, because more investment in primary and secondary sector will create more jobs. When more jobs will happen, people will get jobs and poverty will fall. So this is also one of the way to eradicate poverty. You can say that greater investment in primary and secondary sector. So we are done with the poverty, and now we will move to next topic, which is a small topic, which is unemployment. Okay. So you might know about unemployment. Unemployment is a situation when a person is not getting job. So the third key problem will be unemployment, because in the challenges to Indian economy we have seen three problems: inflation, poverty and unemployment. So what is unemployment? Unemployment is a condition when an individual is not getting job. So unemployment, individual who is qualified but not getting a job. So he is not getting a job, we call it person as an unemployed person. Now, there are, in the unemployment, there are different types of rates, like unemployment rate, then the labor force. Who is the person who is to be employed, or what is the employable population? Let us look at that. So, in unemployment topic, we have number of things. One is labor force. Now, labor force is that portion of our population which provides labor. So that portion of population which provides labor for various productive activities or for production of goods and services. So labor force is the population which provides labor or which act as labor, which provides labor, okay, which provides labor, or the population which is in the labor force. We call it the working age population, those who are eligible to work. So labor force. Now in the labor force, so in general sense, labor force is that amount of individual, so the people who are eligible to get employed, who are eligible for employment. So workable force or workforce of the country. You basically call it not specifically the workforce, but those people who can be employed. Now in labor force, you have two types of people, employed and unemployed. So people who get employment, so individuals who are in labor force, and if they get employed, if they get jobs, they will come under employed category, so they will be termed as employed, and those individuals who have the qualities but are not getting jobs will be known as unemployed people. Now the people who are employed are known as workforce. So workforce means those individuals who are working. Workforce means those individuals who are employed or those who got jobs are working. Now, so we know that not all persons are employed. There is a section of people who are unemployed, who are not getting jobs. So how to calculate what is the percentage of people who are not employed? We call it as unemployment rate. The unemployment rate tells us about those people who are not employed, or it tells us about the percentage of people in our country who are not employed. So it tells us about the unemployment rate. So what is unemployment rate? How to calculate it? So in order to calculate unemployment rate, we have the formula. So it is, unemployment rate is the proportion of number of individuals unemployed divided by number of individuals in labor force, and then you get the unemployment rate. Now this unemployment rate is calculated by NSSO, okay, NSSO, which is National Sample Survey Office. Now as per their report in 2011-12, so in 2011-12, as per their report, the unemployment rate in India stood at 2.3% in 2011-12. So in 2011-12, unemployment rate was 2.3%. So this is done about unemployment. Now we will study types of unemployment. So different types of unemployment. Types of unemployment, number of different types are there. Okay, one is cyclical unemployment. You have structural unemployment. Then you have disguised unemployment, also known as hidden unemployment. Disguised unemployment. Then you have technical, structural. We have done cyclical, disguised, structural unemployment. Then there is seasonal unemployment. Then there is frictional unemployment. And so these are different types of unemployment which we have seen. And the last, you have technical unemployment, which is, I'll explain it, technical unemployment. So what is these different types of unemployment? So a cyclical unemployment, it takes place because of the lows and downs, lows and ups in economy. So cyclical unemployment is related to economy growth. It is related to economic growth. So when economy is not performing well, and if economic growth is low, unemployment is there, and if economy is boosted, when economic growth is high, unemployment is more. So that is cyclical unemployment. So this takes place when economic growth is low, we call it as cyclical unemployment. Then we have structural unemployment. Structural unemployment takes place when structural changes takes place in the economy. So for example, demand for certain goods in certain industries, like demand for secondary goods or in the manufacturing sector, increases. So demand for secondary sector, if it is increasing, so demand for secondary sector, if it increases, okay, if it increases, whereas the demand in the primary sector fall. Demand in primary sector fall, we call it as structural unemployment because of various structural changes, because those who are employed in primary sector will be unemployed because production of goods won't take place, so they won't get jobs, whereas in secondary sector they will get jobs. So this is structural unemployment. Okay, and then we have disguised unemployment. Disguised unemployment is prevalent in agriculture sector. So what happens in disguised unemployment? You are employing the person, but he is not contributing much. Even though person is employed, his contribution is zero or negligible. So it is prevalent in agriculture sector. Okay, prevalent VALENT, prevalent in agriculture sector. Disguised unemployment, it is prevalent in agriculture sector. So suppose in agriculture sector, suppose you need only 10 workers, but you are employing 12 workers. So for a work you only need 10 workers, but you are employing 12. So आप 2 लोग ज़्यादा employ कर रहे हो, वही काम 10 लोग कर सकते हैं, but you are employing 12 people. So the extra 2 people, they are not contributing much, so they will be termed as disguised. So those 2 people are known as disguised. They come under the category of disguised unemployment. Here contribution is zero. Then you have seasonal unemployment. Seasonal unemployment takes place because in various agriculture. Take the example of agriculture. It is an unemployment. So in seasonal unemployment, employment opportunities are available only in some season. For example, in agriculture sector, during harvesting you find employment, whereas in other period you don't find employment. Similarly, in various other industries, employment is seasonal, and most of the time there are certain industries where employment is demand oriented. If demand for goods is there, they will hire worker. If demand is not there, they won't produce goods and they will lay off the worker. The seasonal unemployment refers to when employment opportunities are only available for certain season, whereas for the rest of the time a person is unemployed. And then you have frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment takes place. Frictional unemployment, it takes place due to a change in job. If a person is changing or moving from one job to another, the time period between them is known as frictional unemployment. Or when unemployment takes place due to strikes and a person moves to new job, we call it as frictional unemployment. And then you have technical. Technical unemployment happens when you focus more on technical unemployment. This takes place because of techniques of production. Okay, so if you introduce new machines, if you are introducing new machines, what will happen? If a person is not having that much skill, he will remain unemployed. So in technical unemployment, we look at this happens because of technique of production or modern machines. And if person is not having skill, or if a person is not having required skill, then he will be technically unemployed, or he will be known as technical unemployment, that phenomena. So these are different types of unemployment. Now let us look at why unemployment is there, or the causes of unemployment. Now we will look at so why unemployment is there in place. Why? What are the causes? One is lack of skill. So if a person is not having sufficient skill, he won't get employment. So in India, we are talking about India. So people don't have sufficient skill. People don't have sufficient skill. Okay, people don't have sufficient skills. Lack of training, lack of skill training institutes in India. Lack of skill training. Institutes in India. So all of these leads to lesser skill, and when individual is having very less skill, the chances of him or her getting a job are very, very low, and he remains unemployed. Second is lack of employment oriented education. Now it is said that the education system in India is not employment oriented. So people are not getting, students are not getting or acquiring skills, required skills for jobs. So lack of employment oriented education in India. Okay, so the education sector is not providing sufficient employable sufficient skills which are required for employment. The third reason will be the method of production, you call it. Now there are two methods of production. One is by capital intensive industries, and one is labor intensive. Now in India, in the agriculture sector, greater, more mechanization, more usage of machines have taken place. Okay, so what happens when more machines are used? When more machines are used, people don't have jobs. So in agriculture sector, more usage of or greater usage of machines have been done, and because of that, lesser jobs are available. And in India, government is focusing more on capital intensive industries, and so less jobs available. Then in labor intensive, we have now if you employ labor intensive industry, means more labor is required. It implies that more labor is required, and when more labor is there, more jobs are there. Now, in case of India, the focus has been more on capital intensive industry, and that's why unemployment has been high. The other reason is, so number of reasons are there in the book. Other reason is jobless growth. Then you have slow growth in agriculture. Now, jobless growth. Jobless growth means when economy is growing, but employment is growing, but at the lesser rate. So, jobless growth means high economic growth, and low growth of employment. Or you term is you can say that's low growth of jobs. So economy is growing at high rate, but the rate at which employment should grow is actually less than the economic growth rate. So this is known as jobless growth. And then is slow growth in agriculture. We know that many people depend on agriculture sector. 50% of our country's population is dependent on agriculture sector. It is engaged in agriculture sector. Now, agriculture sector has immense potential, but because of population growth rate, the farm sizes are decreasing. So, because of population growth rate, the agricultural growth rate has been low because land get divided into smaller parts. And this impact the productivity, and agriculture productivity remains low, and so slow growth in agriculture also impact the jobs. Now we will look at how to eradicate or how to remove unemployment. This is a small topic. So what are the measures which government has taken, and which government has taken, and what can be done? So eradication or removing. First is the steps taken. MGNREGA, which is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Now under this act, 100 days of employment is given. Is provided. So one is MGNREGA policy. Now this policy is old. Okay. Now this policy has done wonders in India because MGNREGA policy has helped to uplift the rural economy. It has helped to reduce poverty. So MGNREGA policy has led to. So this policy led to reduction in poverty, unemployment rate, okay, and uplifted rural economy. So one is this step which has been taken by government, and through these steps the unemployment has came down in India. So unemployment has come significantly, the rate of unemployment has fallen because of MGNREGA policy, because people are getting employment. If a person is unemployed, if a person is not getting job, he can seek 100 days of employment under MGNREGA. Then we will look at other steps what government can do. This is the step which taken. Apart from this, government has started skill training institute. Skill development is provided, skill training is provided, and we have covered that in the first chapter. We have talked about National Skill Development Corporation, etc. We have seen that how skill is provided, skill training. So skill training is provided, and number of schemes are there for under the skill in skill training, like we have Sankalp. So this is a scheme under the skill development mission where a skill is provided so that a person can get employment and he comes out of the unemployment trap. Apart from this, the measure which government can take, one is reducing loopholes in policies, promoting self-employment, greater investment, in manufacturing sector, because manufacturing sector has greater potential to create more and more jobs, and it has also been the vision of government, and there is a policy under which government is aiming to create 100 million jobs in the manufacturing sector. So these are the policies which government can do, which government has taken to eradicate the problem of unemployment from our economy. So we are done with this chapter. This chapter is over, and you have to write the question answers in the notebook. So let's recap what we have done. In the topic challenges to Indian economy, we have looked at three key challenges. One is poverty, then we have seen about inflation, and then we have looked at unemployment. So these are the three key problems of the Indian economy, or the three challenges to the Indian economy, and this is very, very important. You have to note it down in the book. Definition is available, definition is there in the book. So you have to write question answers, and from tomorrow in the next video we will move to either we won't do economics chapter, but we will do chapter of geography. So thank you.